nuts, cotton, rubber, and other things. And there was the level of poverty that we experience today was not there. But as time went on, we started having leaders. And especially the Fourth Republic brought up leaders that are very uncaring. From 1999, we all know that we had one leader known as General Babangida, a Maradona. Babangida is the cause of a lot of the problems that besiege this country today. Babangida ruled for 8 years, Maradonically. His transition program was unending. He promised to hand over government to civilians severally and failed severally. And of course, he was only persuaded in 1993 by late General Abacha to step aside, and that is how Babangida stepped aside. And then Abacha took over as head of state. Abacha positioned himself to become a life president. And he pursued that mission up to 1998, when God intervened. When God saw the type of leadership that Abacha was providing and what he wanted to do, God intervened and took his life for the benefit of Nigerians in 1998. And then, of course, when Abacha passed on, there was a transition committee that was set up and headed by General Abu Salam Abubakar to fashion the way of handing over government to civilians. But let me tell you why we are having problem today. Because of the unending transition program of Babangida, a lot of responsible Nigerians lost interest in governance. They lost interest in participation in politics. When General Abu Salam Abubakar, as the chairman of the transition program, came up with a program of transition, many responsible and well-behaved Nigerians did not believe that he was going to hand over to civilians, because they felt that Abu Salam Abubakar and General Babangida were very close. They came from the same state, and they would have the same agenda. And so many responsible people who would have been part of politics and governance today stayed away from politics in 1998-99. And so when that happened, many people without integrity, many people who did not have the interest of this nation at heart, came up to contest election in 1999. And so, because they didn't have people of impeccable character to contest against them, they won the positions and became presidents. Well, Obasanjo was president in 1999. Atiku Abubakar was the second in command, the vice president. We had members of the National Assembly, people who had no integrity, who were not supposed to govern a nation as big, as robust as Nigeria, with over 200 and something million people at that time. Today we are over 300 million. And so they came and started doing all kinds of things. There are so many people who are in position today who ought not to be there. So that's how we found ourselves in a position where we are, that we are struggling with life. We are struggling to survive. We are talking about coping strategies. We are talking about depressed economy or economic depression. That means something. And so that is how it has been. We have not had good leaders. If we had good leaders, we would not be talking about economic depression and how to cope with this depression. The leaders that we have had since 1999, did not take cognizance of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, promulgated in 1999. And many of them have tended to live above the Constitution. They have done a lot of things without regard to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. They have trampled upon our righs. They have behaved as if we do not have rights at all, constitutional rights. But we have. And because many of us do not even know that we have rights, and we are not able to exercise the constitutional rights that we have, these leaders have become and continue to be at liberty to behave anyhow, to do things anyhow. I can tell you, that is why President Tinubu, Ahmed Bola Tinubu, came up on a day of swearing in to give a stupendous problem to Nigeria by removing what we call the so-called oil subsidy. And that's why we're here. That is why we are where we are today. Because one man, without regard to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, decided on the day that he was, in fact, we know that he was rigged in. Many of us did not vote for him. We all know that. He was rigged in. And he came on the day of swearing in to say, with boldness, that he was removing subsidy. Was there any subsidy? Was there any subsidy at all? Imaginary subsidy. I can tell you that even before Tinubu came, the issue of subsidy had been on from Obasanjo. Subsidy. And they say, oh, there was subsidy. That Nigeria was subsidizing, but from Obasanjo, the National Assembly set up a committee, and the people that were getting money from the so-called subsidy were identified. They were exposed in 2006. But Obasanjo was very careful. He did not want to step on any person's toe. And so he allowed, because he knew the implications of delving into the subsidy thing. And so he allowed it to go. After Obasanjo, Yar'Adua came. Yar'Adua, of course, was a very sick man, you know. You all remember. He was a very sick man. In 2007, he came. And of course, he did not want to entangle himself with the subsidy issue because it was a very sensitive issue. It was critical to the happiness of Nigerians. And so he decided to deal with the issue of militancy, those Bush boys and the rest of them. who were exploiting crude oil illegally and all of that. He tried to reconcile with them and granted them amnesty. That was Yar'Adua. Yar'Adua ruled from 2007 to 2010. But he was a very sick man, and he passed on in 2010, isn't he? He passed on. Jonathan was his vice president at the time. And then as he passed on, well, he passed on gloriously. People applauded him. They celebrated him because they felt that he had dealt with the militancy issue. He granted amnesty to the militants, and people were celebrating Yar'Adua. I'm just giving you the genesis of our problem. And so Jonathan took over as acting president and later became president. From 2010 to 2015, Jonathan was acting president and then president. And he saw the issue of fuel subsidy. Some people wanted to rob him in because they knew that it was a critical issue. But Jonathan cleverly avoided the issue of